from a gentleman whom we obviously would have liked to welcome here in person, and I'm sure he also would have loved to be in person, but for very, very understandable reasons, he cannot be here with us today. But he did not want to waste and pass up the opportunity to address this very distinguished audience. It's none other than, if you will, the gentleman who has become the face, the symbol of Ukrainian resistance. It's none other than Ukrainian President Zelenskyy himself, who I believe is now up live, joining us from Kiev.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. Madam President Chabutova, Madam President Volodymyr, Mr. Prime Minister Haga, ladies and gentlemen, all the attendees, dear friends, I'm grateful for the honor to address you here today. This year, the Bratislava Forum, for the first time in its history, is organized in such a way that its panels are taking place not only on the ground, but on water, on the boat, on the Danube River. I think this is an important image because discussing challenges to European security and stability, the threats to the entire humanity, is just impossible to be organized in a comprehensive way without being cognizant of what is taking place on water. One of the most important targets for the Russian army now are bridges through rivers. It often happens that Russians strike 3 missile attacks on one bridge to destroy it completely. It's impossible to overestimate also the threat brought about by the Russian aggression to the water potential, the capacity of the center and east of Europe, the Black Sea basin, the character of the military hostilities of the Russian army shows that they are flat-out barbarians. They are destroying severely the residential places, industrial areas, chemical plants, metallurgical plants. The hostilities in Donbass starting from 2014 give rise to the threat of pollution of underground waters. If the sinking of coal plants in Donbass continues, where in 1979 an underground nuclear explosion took place, the pollutants can contaminate not only the rivers of Ukraine, but the Black and Azov seas. When it comes to security challenges related to our basins, our rivers and our seas, we cannot but mention the blockade by Russia of Ukrainian ports. Due to this act of aggression by Russia, the world is now teetering on the cusp of the food security crisis. This is not just some issue with food. This is a deficit on the world market. This is detrimental, catastrophic rise of prices of basic products in various countries. So if we do not avert it, we will receive a political chaos in Africa, Asia, and the ensuing migration crisis in Europe, when people suffering from famine will seek refuge elsewhere. The food security crisis will inevitably lead to large-scale protests in European countries. Many governments will have to explain to protesters in streets of various European cities why our continent is now held hostage by one country, which is Russia, and one person in Moscow who gave order on the maritime blockage of Ukraine. Now I've just mentioned just a few of the consequences, the extreme consequences that we are now facing. These are tremendous challenges. How we are supposed to react to all of this? Ladies and gentlemen, let us once again remember the Danube River. This is the source of prosperity for various cities: Bratislava, Vienna, Budapest, Linz, Regensburg, Belgrade, Izmail, and others. Slovakia, Austria, Germany, Romania, Serbia, Hungary, Moldova, and Ukraine, to make sure that Danube remains clean and safe, to ensure that its economic potential, including transport potential, works in full swing. We need cooperation of all countries which have received this great gift from nature. Therefore, we need unity, we need understanding, we need the ability to talk and find common ground for common interest. And by the way, this is a key thing for peaceful and free life in Europe. That is what Slovakia is capable of doing. That is what Ukraine is capable of doing. This is what other countries, our partners, can do. And this is what is deliberately ignored by Russia. Is Russia trying to hurt, to hear anyone, to understand someone? No. Does Russia recognize common interests? No. It only sees its own interests, while construing it in a very peculiar way. Not like an interest of the entire Russian people, but like egoistic desires of a small handful of its heads. In what way does Russia understand the notion of unity? Russia is trying to subjugate others and to bring them to heel, to destroy other people's identity. That is how they construe unity. They're just destroying diversity. This is exactly what they are doing now in Ukraine. They're trying not only to kill people, but to wipe off the very fact that there is our country, that there is Ukraine, and that Ukraine seeks to be a full-fledged member of a united Europe. This is an outright anti-European policy of Russia, which makes Europe responsible and obliged to react in a principled way. First of all, by supporting Ukraine even more actively with weapons, finance, and policies. We are grateful for the assistance we have already received to everyone who is assisting us, but weapons supplies should be stepped up because it is on the battlefield that on the battlefield in Ukraine that it is being decided whether freedom in Europe is going to be preserved for everyone without exemption. And on the battlefield in Ukraine, there is a situation which can ensure an inflection point in this confrontation. When we prevail over Russia, the freedom of Europeans will prevail for decades ahead. The second point is sanctions. The primary essence of sanctions packages of the European Union is related not only to inflicting harm on Russia, but making Europe independent from Russia, to cut all the critical links between Russia and European countries, which Moscow has weaponized, particularly in energy. Therefore, I believe it is inadmissible when we spend so much time discussing sanctions packages, more than a month. These are our days. These are days of our people's lives, more than a month. Of course, it is gratifying that the sixth sanctions package has already been implemented, but it has to be put in practice urgently now. And we should proceed by organizing a seventh sanctions package. This is a rope. When we still have the connections between Europe and Russia, this is a rope that Russia can use as a stranglehold. The third point is that we should strengthen Ukraine's unity by providing Ukraine a candidate status to the European Union and later the full-fledged membership. There can be no temptation in Russia to even assume that European countries are not supporting Ukraine in this issue. We should not allow this, because if Russia feels that Europe is faint-hearted and can leave Ukraine behind without the obviously needed decision on candidate status, that will be one of the gravest destabilizing factors for the continent over the entire period of the full-fledged war of Russia against Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to give the response to all the challenges and threats that Russia has created against all of us. in policies, in economics, in military field, in food security, in environment, in migration field. There is not a single field of our lives where catastrophe, where the threat of catastrophe would not be so imminent. The quality of our response will decide, is dependent on our unity. Any division in Europe is a chance for Russia to continue its belligerent policies. And I trust that you are well aware of it. And therefore, I trust that we will be able to protect our continent and our people from everything that is hanging above us as a threat. But we also should think about tomorrow, about what will happen after we prevail over the tyranny. We believe in this victory. That is why Ukraine is now working on a large-scale initiative, United 24, which is a system of instruments which, when they are fully implemented, be able to protect not only our country, but our peoples from the menace of armed aggression and natural disasters and other things that are threatening our lives. We have to ensure that in 24 hours, every state which requires assistance is able to achieve it. Now, we do not have such an instrument in the world, unfortunately, but it is obvious that it is very much needed. Therefore, I urge you to familiarize yourselves with the first element of this future infrastructure, the fundraising platform, which allows accumulating funds from various sources for various needs, including defense, infrastructure, healthcare, and social policies, without excessive red tape. Everyone stands to decide how to help the country which requires assistance. Gradually, we will replenish United 24 with other instruments, diplomatic, sanctions, and technical instruments, together with you, which will enable us to drastically renew the current global security architecture. I'm confident that the need of renewing it will be one of the key issues to discuss at this conference. Therefore, I urge you to pay attention to Ukrainian proposals, and please do not forget that there is one country which seeks to destroy us by weapons, by aggression. It seeks to destroy your beautiful and wonderful Danube. Protect us. Protect yourself. Glory to Ukraine. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much. It is my great honor.
President Zelenskyy, first of all, thank you so much for joining us under these difficult circumstances. I don't know if you could see it or hear it, but the wave of solidarity that this room has displayed before your speech and certainly afterwards, I hope that wave of solidarity has reached Kiev has reached you personally as well. You sounded as defiant as ever in your speech, saying once again, Ukraine will prevail. We will win this war. What is the morale on the ground there? You speaking to your people, you are on the ground, you're exchanging notes, you were at the battlefront recently. What is the morale on the ground there in Ukraine right now?
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you for the round of applause. I thank you for your support. I did not hear you applauding but I definitely can feel it now, and I can see it. And I am 100% sure that everyone in this hall, all the dignitaries, all the leaders, all of them support us. The leaders of today, the presidents of yesteryear, all of them support us similarly, and we can definitely feel it. We have learned over these years, over these months, over these tremendously difficult months of war to distinguish between those who truly is our friend and those who is just somewhere over there on geographic map of the world. I know that in this hall, among the attendees, there are our sincere friends who have been supporting us. The morale is indeed the most important thing. Our morale hinges on your morale, on your support. And I can be quite pragmatic in saying so, but the essence of this morale depends on very concrete things. When I expressed my gratitude for your support, it is not only about rhetoric, but also about weapons, sanctions, and financial aid, and many other things, like Madam von der Leyen and other attendees. I know how many discussions we have had, and I am also aware of how Madam von der Leyen supports Ukrainians and our future EU membership by supplying financial assistance and by helping Ukrainians who have fled the war to the territories of friendly states. I can once again say that there is a huge difference between countries that support us and countries who are just demonstrating something else regarding what is taking place in Ukraine. I can say that our spirit, our morale is indomitable. This is a peculiar feature of Ukrainians, and I'm glad that all the skeptics have noticed it. You can see that we are not just fighting for values of freedom, democracy, and human rights. We truly believe in these values. And this is not just a hollow motto, a slogan. This is something that is deep inside our souls, our hearts. Therefore, this is very sincere. This is very honest. Therefore, it is so efficient. Regarding the situation on the front line, the situation on the battlefield depends on our morale. Near Kharkiv, we have made some tremendous advance, but the situation in the east of Ukraine remains very complicated. Russia has accumulated all the troops that it has, and 100 people die on a daily basis in Ukraine, and other 450 and even 500 people are injured on a daily basis in the east of Ukraine. That is the battle that is being waged for these values that we have talked about. So I want all of you to realize that after the occupation of Kiev and other regions of Ukraine, the war is still raging, and hundreds of families will lose their relatives. And therefore, that is a grave and great challenge for us. But generally, we believe in our victory, and we are going to prevail without any doubt.
We are going to prevail without any doubt, says President Zelenskyy, and you've already expressed your gratitude to Europe, to European leaders, many of them here in the room today. You've called for more weapons. What else is missing? What is the factor here? You have the opportunity to address many decision makers who are at the forefront, whom of course you're exchanging opinions with also frequently. But what is still missing from the Ukrainian perspective? What do you want to see beyond weapons?
Зброя – це правда номер один.
Weapons are the top priority. Weapons are different. We are talking not only about artillery rounds, we're not talking solely about rocket systems. We are also talking about the weapons which are uniting our people, because taken alone, the unity of Ukrainian people is the most important weapon of every country in the world. Therefore, unifying the people depends on the motivation. When the whole world is looking at us and is supporting us, is a great motivation. And if you are not tired of supporting us politically, Ukrainian people will not be tired either. We will continue to defend the values. When we are talking about assistance, the issue of Ukraine's EU membership is decided not in a day and not in a month. That is understandable. But now one of the motivations for unifying our people and gaining trust that Europe regards us as an equal partner, as a powerful partner. In this regard, the candidate status to EU membership is one of such motivations. We have many people in this hall on whom this decision depends. I'd like to tell you that this is not just a hollow phrase. It's not just some technical aspect. Please wait until we take a decision. Please wait for the right moment. Believe me, this is not so. I know what I'm talking about. We do not have enough motivation in Ukraine. No, we have the motivation of preserving our lives, preserving our people, preserving our homes. We need respect. That is a great motivation. And part of this respect is feeling as an equal partner. Receiving a candidate status is a trifle thing, but it is so much that it has so much importance in it for us. For some countries in Europe, that is a stage that they have already finished. But for us, this is something that we should do in the future. I know that this future has united not only our people, it has also rallied together the countries worldwide. The only thing that is unfortunate to me is that we have paid a steep price for this unity. So I hope that now, when we are discussing sanctions, when we are discussing aid packages to Ukraine, we see some divisive signals. We see some steps from certain countries that run contrary to this unity, and we should not allow such steps to be taken. I would also like to say that you cannot betray your people. The Ukrainian people has had historical links with certain countries, certain peoples. And I'm confident that we will have future relations with other countries in Europe, but there are some peoples with whom we've had relations since the Soviet times of the USSR. So if there is a certain leader who has had historically stable relations with the Ukrainian people, cannot play into the hands of the Russian Federation. These people are supposed to support those who are closely related to you. Now I'm addressing certain leaders who are present in this hall among the dignitaries. I would like to thank you for this opportunity once again. Thank you.
And Mr. President, before we let you go, thank you so much for being so generous with your valuable time. Made a passionate plea for the EU membership of your country. As a matter of fact, we have your Deputy Prime Minister for European Integration here, whom I will be sharing the stage with in just a moment. But before we let you go, you have become the face, the symbol of Ukrainian resistance. You have received praise, international global praise for your leadership style. They're saying President Zelenskyy has risen to the occasion. He's displaying true leadership, but this must weigh heavily on your shoulders. At some point, you are seeking a way out, of course, to end and minimize the suffering of your people. Give us an insight into your thoughts and feelings of President Zelenskyy today, probably one of the toughest jobs out there today.
Дуже дякую. Я хочу вам сказати.
Thank you very much. I'd like to say, honestly and frankly, that for me, this is not a burden. This is not a brunt. This is the sign of great trust of Ukrainians. And for the sake of this trust, for the sake of this responsibility that has been put on my shoulders by my people, by destiny, I would say, by circumstances, by many other things. For the sake of all of this, I'm ready to continue. I'm grateful for all of this. This is a great responsibility for me. And it is with much pleasure that I continue doing it. It is my great pleasure. I continue doing it with trust, and I'm proud to be doing it.
President Zelenskyy, yes, please.
Дуже дякую. Дуже дякую.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed.
I'm certainly speaking for this room, for everyone in here, and beyond when I say that we wish your nation, your people all the best. May this war and very soon, may the suffering of your people and very soon. And thank you so much for taking the time to join us here at Globsec 22. President Zelenskyy, thank you so much.
Thank you. It is my great honor. I wish you all peace. Best regards.
After these words pleading for solidarity, certainly many of the words were addressed